Hello, third graders. Welcome to lesson 4.12. Wow, we're almost through unit 4 already. And we've been talking a lot about area and a lot about perimeter. And I want you to look at this shape, right? It's one of those weird ones. So, what's something that we could do? How could we find this shape's area? What's your idea? Okay, a lot of people probably said count up all the squares, and we could certainly do that. I want to show you one other idea that you might not have thought about yet. Okay, and I am going to cut this. I'm going to decompose it, right? Decompose means to break into parts. So I'm going to decompose, I'm going to break it apart. And now look what I have. I have two rectangles. See, here's one and here's the other. Now this rectangle is a square, right? But it's still a rectangle. So I have a rectangle here that is 6 long and 3 wide. And we know that if we multiply 6 times 3, we can get the area of this top part. And look at this one, 2 times 2. This area would be 4. This is just another idea for you as you're thinking through area. So I have now I need to add these up, right? Because I want to know the total. 18 plus 4 gives me 22 units squared. Okay, so this is another strategy, and we're learning this strategy today as we work on this standard. We're going to be multiplying side lengths to find areas of rectangles with whole number side lengths. But we're going a little farther because we're dealing with these objects that are called rectilinear figures. Now, when we say rectilinear, it means it's made out of rectangles, right? So it might look like this. I like to call them swimming pools because this is how a lot of swimming pools are set up, right? Like this is the baby pool where the babies play. And then there's usually like some kind of like rope or something. And then the big pool. Okay. So rectilinear figures, kind of like swimming pools. Decompose, right? Meaning to take and break something into different parts, right? If we wanted to decompose this, we would do what I did here, right? Split it. Now we have 2 parts. Okay. So those words you're going to hear as we go through this today. Okay. And you can see that we can decompose. This was the one from earlier. Our rectangle from the first one by breaking it into 2 parts, then finding the area of each shape. When we want to know the area of the entire shape, we can add those 2 parts together. All right, so let's look at this together. This area, right, see our area here. This is a rectilinear shape. This area represents an outdoor reading space I want to cover with rubber tiles. Each tile measures 1 square yard, and each square on the grid represents 1 square yard. How might I find the number of rubber tiles needed to cover an outdoor reading space of this shape? So I know that we could count all the squares, but we're going to practice this strategy. Okay, so what we need to do first here is do you remember? What am I going to split? I'm going to split this shape into 2 rectangles. So let's draw a line here. Let's make it a red line from here to here. Okay. I'm splitting. Here's the baby pool where all the babies play. Here's the big pool where everybody else plays. All right. So now I need to think through this rectangle. Okay. Well, let's look. How long is this rectangle? Not all the way across, just from here to where we split it. How long is that? 3 units, right? 1, 2, 3. 3. How wide is it? Not how wide is this one. How wide is just the baby pool? 4 units, right? And so to find the area of that, we know to multiply 3 times 4. What is the area of the baby pool? It is 12 units squared, or 12 square units. In this case, let's see if I can draw a 2. I'm drawing differently. Ooh, that's not a great 2, but it'll work. Square yards, right? As we're dealing with yards. So now we have figured out that area. Now let's look at the big pool here. So how long is the big pool? We could look at it down here. It'd probably be easier. How long is that? 6 yards. How wide is it? Let's see if you're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did you say 8? All right. So 6 long by 8. So if we multiply 6 times 8, use your helper fact. You know 5 times 8. And if you know 5 times 8, you know 6 times 8 equals what? 5 times 8 equals 40. So 6 times 8 is 8 more. 48. So now we take these two parts, the 48 and the 12, and we add those together. How much would that be? Carry the 1. 60 yards squared. See the 2, 4 squares. So what we have done here is found the area of a rectilinear figure. We decomposed it. We broke it into 2 parts by splitting it into 2 rectangles. We then figured out the area of one and the area of the other, and then added them up. Now, what if there's no squares? Okay, it's the same thing. Same thing, right? Let's find the baby pool. Let's break it off with, there's a red line here. It's the baby pool, right? Bum, 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 bum. All right. Now, we see that this is 2 feet wide. It's not 6 feet wide. 6 feet is this whole area here. 2 feet times 3 feet. So we would have 6 for this one. And then 4 feet for the big pool times 7 feet. 4 times 7 equals 28. Notice that we never used the 6. Okay, sometimes with these, there'll be numbers that you never use because you have enough information otherwise, right? The 6 wasn't useful. Okay, you have to, it's irrelevant to this problem. Then I add those up and I get my area, 28 plus 6. 6 plus 8 is 14. And that would be 34. All right. Let's look at what you're doing today. Today you have Math Journal page 131. Go ahead and open to that Math Journal page. Let's just do a little previewing here. We're decomposing into, they call them animal pens, into rectangles. Now, one thing that I notice here is that you're going to have 3 rectangles. What do I mean by that? Well, so if we chop off this one, part of this baby pool, we also have to chop off this one. So you'll actually have 3 parts. You'll have this part and this part and this part to put together. Same thing over here. You're going to have 3. Then when we get down here, we see prairie dogs, right? And I'm going to give you one of the numbers that you need to know, and they should have included it. This right here, this length right here is 3. So let's write a 3. Well, that's a big 3. Let's write a 3 and put it right there. And I would write that in your math journal right now while you're listening. Okay, so these don't have squares, right? And you're going to use the strategies that we talked about. Anything at the bottom? Nope, 4 problems to do. Okay, rectilinear figures. They're calling them animal pens. You could think about them as swimming pools. All right, 3rd graders. Good challenging to our brain here today. If you need any help with areas and rectilinear figures, please make sure to reach out to me. And good luck.